Hi, this is Kathy from Craft with Kathy. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to Saturday's Chalk and Talk. I know I'm quite late. Let me take a moment and share this into my VIP group. If you are not a member of my VIP group and would like to be privy to more details, specials, bundles, games, and prizes, comment VIP below and I will send you the link. Okay, got that shared. So I was tossing around lots of different ideas for today's project, and I've probably made it a little bit larger than I initially intended, which is not unusual actually for me, but I just had so many different ideas and so many things I wanted to do that I just kept adding to it a little bit. So we shall see how this goes. I'm coming at you live from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line and let me know where you're viewing from. I've done a little bit of mixing of paste already today. I mixed up some Lakeshore and some Ocean Mist to get something in between. I wanted a little bit lighter than Lakeshore. I want basically 3 shades of similar blues to blend together, and I am going to be using the new house cutouts along with the house trio transfers. But before I get started with that, I want to do a little bit of creating a little bit of an embellishment here. I have some cording or some twine, and I just actually want to color that to match with my Lakeshore, because I'm going to be using the Lakeshore for my wording. So I want this cording to work to match as an accent. So I'm taking a little bit of Lakeshore, putting it in a color tray, taking my cording, oops, needed to add a little bit of water to that, almost forgot, watering it down just like I would if I was going to paint with my chalk paste, or if I was going to paint beads or whatever, same kind of concept. Just spritz it with a little bit of distilled water, and you want to use distilled water so there's no chance of any interaction between the chemicals or the minerals in your tap water and the pigments of the paste. And then I'm going to throw my cording in there and get it all, you know what, this is silly. Here's my glove that I had on earlier so that I didn't get paste all over my fingers, and here I am working without it, right? What can you do? So I just basically want to get this saturated to color this cording or this twine to match my project. And you could do the same thing with ribbon, obviously. And I'm thinking in retrospect, when I color my beads, I usually put them in a plastic baggie, and I probably should have done the same with this. It'd be easier to massage it around than trying to dab it with a squeegee and get it to soak up all the color. So next time I'll use a little plastic bag. I've actually used a plastic bag for when coloring ribbon. I don't know why I didn't think of it today. And if this isn't all totally an even color, like if it's a little bit faded or a little bit lighter in areas, so much the better actually. If it even actually picked up like a tie-dye look to it, it would be fine, because the 3 colors of blue are going to be used on my 3 cutouts, and I think it would match fine. So I think that's all mixed up, and all I need to do is take this out of here. I've got a couple speckles where it quite didn't hit it, but I'm trying to think of where I want to hang it to dry so that it's dry by the time I need it for my project. Let me just move it out of the way. This is kind of like a little bit long kind of cord, and let me drape it over something so that it can dry. I feel like I'm playing around with a long thing of spaghetti. Okay, so I got that out of the way, and let's get into the fun part of this one. Clean off my fingers because I've got a little bit of paste on them. and move all this over to the side. Get it out of my way, cover up my paste so it doesn't dry out. And I want to show you these cute little, whoops, cute little transfer that we're going to be using today. This matches with our new house shapes. Let me take it out of its little cellophane bag. And as we go along, if you have any questions regarding this project or any other project, just chalking in general, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you may have. And before we get started with this, I want to label it on the back. Like I said, this transfer is House Cutouts Trio Patterns, and we always have the name and the item number for the transfers on the bottom left-hand corner. This does two things. It lets me know that this is the dull side of my carrier paper, and it identifies this backing to go with these transfers. And basically what it does is it makes sure when I assemble everything back together, then I don't inadvertently stick the wrong side of the backing paper or the carrier sheet against the sticky side of my transfer. And I'm just getting some tape off my scissors. Okay. So our transfers are adhesive backed, reusable. They're made of vinyl, which is the teal, and silk screen that goes totally through the entire transfer. You can see through the silk screen into the white carrier sheet or backer right now. And the silk screen allows us to get a nice, crisp definition, beautiful images, and lovely wording. And there's cut lines to cut the transfer apart on, and I'm using my transfer trimmers to just cut apart the different pieces of this transfer. And I like using my transfer trimmers to do this because it has an extra long blade, and it is actually made out of or has like a Teflon coating, so the adhesive from the transfers from the backing does not stick and gum up my blade. So it makes cutting them apart short work. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to actually put names for the individual pieces on the back so I know which carrier sheet goes to which piece, being that this has so many different pieces. Our new house cutouts come in 3 sizes. There's a tall with a chimney. There's a little tiny mini one, and then there's a medium-sized house that actually is somewhat 3-dimensional. I'll show you that in a moment. This transfer goes with the medium, and the roof actually is narrower than the body of the house, so that provides a little bit more of dimension to it and interest. And I'm not going to be using the doors or the windows today, so I'm just going to cut them out and put them on a side for now. And obviously, because our cutouts are cutouts, they're double-sided, so you can chalk each side, have a totally different look to each side if you want. So let me get the pieces that I'm not using out of here, and we'll get started chalking. Okay, I'm going to use this. I'm actually not going to use this. They fit on the same house shape. And this is the one that I was talking about with the roof slanting backwards. If you notice, the actual roof is probably only about a ½ inch in depth, whereas the whole, the entire cutout is 3/4, so there's some definition here, which is pretty cool. And let's see. Okay, this is all of what I'm using. So let me label these really quick, and we'll get on with it. Now these shapes are all fairly different. Oops. But if they were close in size, I like having them all labeled so that I know which backer sheet fits with what. And I'm just putting enough words so that I know. Which one is which. Okay. And then being that I'm going to be using these transfers on a wood surface, I definitely want to wax these first. And I'm going to use our new little wax applicator. One side is terry. Let me get rid of the tag. And the other side is microfiber, just like our fuzzing cloth. Use the terry side to apply your wax and use the microfiber to buff it and rub it off. And see how nice they fit perfectly in here. They're 3 inches in diameter, just like our little cans of paste. I'm so used to using that great big one that doesn't fit in a can. It drives me crazy sometimes. So I've just rubbed it in. Now I'm going to rub it off. And oh, it's so nice using the microfiber to rub it off. I can tell the difference, the smoothness right away. And I'll get my little roof here. And I'm only gonna, for expedience sake, I'm only gonna wax the side that I'm gonna be chalking today. These are so cute. The cutouts are actually adorable and would make a really nice little vignette in a tiered tray or on a bookcase or in your fireplace mantle, a little entryway table, a little shelf. Just give things a little bit of character and add a little comfy, cozy feel to things. Isn't that what decorating is all about? Basically applying your personality to your home and to your surroundings and sharing your personality and your likes with the people that you entertain and the people you live with in your home. Almost done with the waxing. This makes it so much quicker. And the reason we wax our wood cutouts is twofold. First of all, we want to protect the adhesive side of our transfers from picking up any loose paint. These cutouts are whitewashed. And we want to create a barrier between the chalk paste and the whitewash side, so that if we make a mistake with our transfer, we're able to easily correct it before the paste actually seeps in or the pigmentation seeps in and is permanent on the wood surface. Now, if you were doing this on chalkboard or glass or mirror or metal, that wouldn't be an issue. So we're only waxing wood. And I'm looking for my fuzzing cloth that I hid back here behind my other monitor. Let me grab it. There we go. And I want to use my terry side, fuzz this. It's a brand new transfer, so I want to fuzz it to make sure it doesn't stick too snugly to my surface. I'm not that worried really with wood. If I was applying this to glass, metal, or mirror, it would be a much bigger issue because they're non-porous and they're very smooth, and we don't want them to stick too strongly where that it's a battle to lift them off of the surface. So I'm just lining this up, making sure I get it lined up properly. This looks good to me. There we go. And I'm going to smooth it down, make sure I don't have any air bubbles underneath my silk screen. And for the large house, I'm going to actually use the Ocean Mist paste. And I'm going to stir this up. Oops, let me get a clean stir stick here. Make sure it's the proper consistency. You always want your paste to be, this looks like it might be a little bit of dry. Add a teeny bit of a little spritz of water. You want it to be the consistency of like a Greek yogurt or sour cream. It should hold its shape. You do not want it to be drippy, but you don't want it to be clumpy either. I mean, you want it to have, you know, to be kind of like a whipped consistency like this, but it's not drippy. Okay, so I'm going to apply this to my transfer, and then I'm going to use a squeegee to basically push the paste through the transfer to the wood surface beneath it. How quick and easy is this? Whoops. Went off my edge a little bit there, and I suppose I put a little bit too much paste on this transfer, but that's okay. When I have everything covered, I will go back and smooth things out and remove the excess paste and put it back in the jar. No sense wasting it. Right back in the jar. Whoops. Stir stick overboard, right? So you want to make sure you have everything covered. Remove any lines, remove any excess paste. I just got paste on my finger, so let me clean that up. I don't want to grab my cutout when I go to lift this and get paste on the side in case I want to paint it a different color on the opposite side. So I think I've got good coverage. I think I've got everything covered, and I'm going to lift this up. Always, oops, I saw just an edge right here that I think I might have missed a little bit. Okay. Always want to lift from the top, the bottom, the left, or the right. Never pull or tug on the corners. Oh, isn't that beautiful? What a pretty color, isn't it? The Ocean Mist. I'm going to put that transfer on the side and clean it when I'm done. You don't want your transfers sitting with paste on them too long. So move that over, and let's see, I want to put the medium color that I've mixed on the roof of this house. Oops, I've got a great big gob of paste right here on the side of my jar. Get that back in there. Yes, I am a messy crafter. What could I say? Our chalk paste is water soluble, so cleanup really is a breeze. Just a little bit of water and a paper towel will clean things up. Wash your hands with water, and obviously soap will take care of it too. Okay, let me get the paste off my fingers and get my fuzzing cloth up here to fuzz the roof portion of this transfer. Where is it at? Aha. I'm going to do the roof portion in the medium color and then the wording in this darker lake shore. So let me fuzz this, and I'll do it all at one time. Obviously, if I wanted to use just the roof, I could use just the roof. I wouldn't have to use the wording if I didn't want to, but I'm going to use both of them today. And I think I'm going to line this up with the roof first, make sure that I have this nice and neat. Oops. and then smooth it down. Make sure there's no air bubbles. You don't want an air bubble underneath your silk screen. I've got a little bump here, a little piece of fuzz on the back of my transfer. So you don't want any bubbles underneath your silk screen, because then the paste won't go through evenly. And there's my little fuzz. Okay, there, got it off my roof. So I'm going to use my mixed up color here to do my roof. Let me grab a clean squeegee to apply that. Or let me clean a squeegee. I thought I had a bunch of them out here. Oh yeah, hidden behind everything, right? Let me clean these up for a moment. Okay, and then I'm just gonna apply the paste on the roof. Notice the angle here. Smooth it out. Make sure I've gone through the entire silk screen and I haven't missed any corners or edges here. It almost looks like I have a piece of fuzz underneath here again. I have to check that out. I'm going to lift this up and look at it before I totally lift it to make sure there's not an issue. Here I've got a little bit of lifting where it seems like my paste had dried real in my silk screen. Let me go over that and see if I could remedy that. I'm getting some lifting again. Let me give it one more try. Almost looks like I've got some clumped paste there. Worst comes to worst, I'll wipe it off and do it again. Oh, I think that looks almost fine. I've just got a little piece of, there, I had a clump of paste. I don't know where that came from, but let me try and see if this straightens it out. Really, there's not too much that you can make a mistake with. There's always ways of fixing things up. I think that's fine. It looks a little rough, but that's fine. It's a roof. It is hail damage. What can I say? Oops, I didn't mean to lift that off. Dang it. Okay, not thinking. Let me clean this transfer and get the chalk paste out of it. I was not thinking at all there. And grab a Clorox wipe, a disinfecting wipe, and clean off that paste and then set it aside to dry. Then I could go back and touch up the roof if I want to and add the wording. I forgot to do the wording. Wasn't thinking. So I'm just removing the chalk paste from the top surface with a circular motion, flipping it over, removing the paste from the back of it, going across it to remove any lint that I deliberately applied to it. And I'm going to set this aside to dry. I just want to, looks like I've got a little bit of paste on the front here where I had that issue with it drying. So let me go over that again. Make sure that's nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to set it aside to dry and continue on with the next piece. So this little tiny house, I wanted to use the dark Lakeshore blue on. Oops. So that is what I'm going to do. Let me get my fuzzing cloth out here and fuzz the other transfer, and we'll finish up with the little house, and then we'll basically have everything almost done except for the wording. Okay, this is the pattern that I'm going to be putting on the little house. So let me get my fuzzing towel out here, fuzz this transfer, get my paste out of the way a little bit. just trying to line up that point so I have it right there. Okay. Smooth it down gently. I don't have to press hard, just a nice little smoothing and making sure that I don't feel any air bubbles. Take some of my Lakeshore paste. Now I need to hold this I need to hold this surface in place when I apply it. I don't want this, it's a small house, it's not real heavy. I don't want it scooting away from me as I apply the paste. So I'll get part of it done and then I'll hold it from a different area as I work with it. A little more paste. Just continuing to apply the paste and squeeze it through the transfer onto the surface beneath it. I'm cleaning it up, smoothing it out, putting any excess paste back in the jar. I'm going to lift the transfer up. How cute is that? Okay, let me move this over to the side to dry. And let's see. Little finger check, clean up my fingers. And see if my tall house is totally dry. Yeah, it feels dry. So I'm going to add my wording to this house. Let me move these aside, get everything out of the way. Leave your worries at the door. And again, I'm going to fuzz this transfer before I place it on the larger house. Our paste goes on liquid, but dries in like 5 to 8 minutes. If it's a shimmer, it'll take more like 8 minutes to dry. Our regular paste takes about 5. Paste goes on liquid. It is made from chalk, but it dries hard. And let's see how I really want my wording here. I think I want this a little bit lower than the roof there. Get the word door pretty close to the bottom. I think that's about it. I think that's straight. Okay, and I'm going to use my Lakeshore paste for the wording on this. So scoop up some paste with my squeegee and just basically squeegee it over my sentiment. Oops, need a little bit more paste here. Smooth it out. Remove the excess. Put the excess back in the jar. And lift it up. I did get a little bleeding there. Let me see if I can fix that up. I probably didn't have the transfer pressed down strongly enough so that it didn't bond real strongly with the surface. So I'm going to use one of these Swiss furs to clean that up. And these have two different sides. One's like a flat paddle and the other side's pointy. And I'm going to just wet the pointy side and try and clean where I've got a little bleeding up here. It's not too noticeable, but the middle of the L did catch it a little bit. And maybe here with my E's. I don't know, I'm almost tempted to leave it or scrap it and do it. I think it's fine. I'm going to put a tassel over it anyway, so if it doesn't look right, if the worst comes to worst, I'll wash it off and repaint it. No big deal. Easy to fix a mistake even on wood. Okay, so let me put this aside to dry. And now I have to see if my transfer's dry and come back to my middle size house. I want to fuzz this again. Oh, the top was wet. Let's see. Okay. And I just want to put the wording on the bottom here. And maybe see if I could fix that brickwork or that roofing, those roof shingles at the top. So let me line this up perfectly so that it matches what I did earlier. And then I could take care of that little area where my paste peeled up. You know what? I need to turn this where I could see it. I'm sorry. There we go. Smooth it down. I'm going to come over here and fix this little area here where the paste lifted. Oops. Probably should have just kept with one area. Let's see what it looks like. Did I use the darker? No, I used the right color. I'm not quite sure what I did. Why, it might just be that it's still wet. Okay. And then I want to use the my Lakeshore paste for the wording. So let me grab that and do the wording here. Oops, I need a little bit more paste. There we go. It's pretty warm in the house. Mom's always cold, and I realize my paste is drying a little bit faster today than normally. You want to make sure when you're chalking that you're not doing it underneath a rotating fan or like a ceiling fan to dry it out, because it might dry out faster than you're anticipating. And the same thing with heat. And of course, if you're in a high humidity area, your paste is going to take a little bit longer to dry. There we go. So how quick and easy was this? I have a couple little tassels here that I was thinking of adding. Obviously I colored my cording to match the Lakeshore paste earlier today. This is still a little wet. It hasn't fully dried, so I will wait till this dries before I string the tassels and decide what I want to do. And then I'll post a picture of the finished project. Now I gotta get to cleaning up my transfers. Thank you so much for watching. Hi, Deb. This is the house trio, the new house cutouts. They're different sizes. There's a small, a tall, and a medium. And the medium, actually, the roof is gradiated, so it's three-dimensional, that it's only a ½ inch thick here, whereas on the bottom it's 3/4 inch thick. So it gives it a little bit more dimension and whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not real happy with the lettering. To me, it almost looks like it's too light. I thought there was enough contrast with it, so I might fiddle with this and change it. And I toyed with the idea of using black, but I thought the Lakeshore was dark enough. Maybe not. It just seems it seems light on camera. If I look at it, if I hold it up, actually, I don't know how I could show you that. If I stand it up and look at it, it looks fine to me. There's no difficulty reading it, but laying flat, it looks a little strange. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to leave it or do something different with it. See if you can see how it looks different if I'm holding it up. So I think on a shelf or an entry table, it's fine. Laying flat, looking at it head on, it looks a little strange. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to probably add the cording and the tassels. I'll see. I'll post a picture. Thank you so much for watching. I surely do appreciate it. You have a great weekend. See you soon.